Welcome to Uninterrupted Teee series, where you get to see my life outside of being a corporate girly and outside of being a consultant and outside of being a mother and all the different hats that I wear. But this series was designed to be super unapologetic and to answer as many questions as possible around what does it look like for Black women to feel rested, to feel whole, to be loved on, and to take some much needed time to themselves. I wanted to document it for myself and for my child. I wanted her to see her mother's thought process. I wanted her to understand that while we live in this world, there is still so much that you can pull back. And each week, if you stick with me long enough, each week we get to unpack where my head is at. This week, we got to speak about all things AI and why it's really important to pick the right tools because AI is here to stay. What it looks like to care for yourself and take some much needed time out. And what does it mean to navigate a layoff? A lot of people have been laid off. Every week I'm texting someone, asking them if they survived the layoff. And I don't like that, but it's the world we live in. Now let me help you navigate what that looks like as we build our network together. So yes, stick with me, enjoy the episode, enjoy Uninterrupted Teee. Free will, layoffs, and what it means to show up for yourself. I almost didn't film this. So week 4 of the sabbatical, I didn't want to film this because this week felt so good. It felt like it was mine. It just felt personal. Now that we're here, pull up. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this week. So firstly, let's start with some positive. The joy of free will. You know what I realized this week? I feel like most of us have never really experienced free will, and not really like the Netflix and chill free will, more like the what is my soul craving? Because for me, free will isn't necessarily a luxury. It's what you're supposed to have. And I think we forget we have free will. So towards the end of this week, I took a vacation, a spontaneous vacation, because my soul needed it. Also, why not? For the first time, it wasn't a work trip. It was a trip with my girlfriends who I'd not traveled with in 7 years. Time moves so quickly that we often forget that the thing that we need is our friends and maybe a beach and maybe some sunshine and not having any responsibilities. And I want to encourage you, especially Black women, and I know this is a really tough season, but if you can, find some good girlfriends and just go away for a couple of days. We went away for 3 days, but those 3 days transformed not just our relationship, but it transformed our spirit. We prayed every day. We relaxed. But I'll tell you about that next week because this week was different. It was conversations with friends about AI. It was about layoffs and what happens when you are laid off and what happens prior to the layoff. I'm such a proponent of self-care, especially when it comes to Black women and Black men. I believe that you should take as much time as you, not before the project, not after the project. Whenever your nervous system is screaming for you to take time off, that's probably when you should take some time off. So I spent a week offline, not chasing the algorithm, not posting, not checking in with anybody. Sorry. And I want to talk about how radical that is sometimes for Black women, or just people in general. But I'm a Black woman, so I'm speaking from the perspective of a Black woman. But the thought of rest is so foreign to all of us because our brains are constantly working. And I feel like we were never taught that our peace was a non-negotiable. We've always been taught that our peace was either a conversation, a negotiation. And I'm learning that that is not true. I'm learning in this sabbatical that nothing is ever late today. Everything is always on time. The thing that you are chasing and the thing that you are fighting for, it will come on time. Black women, we carry so much professionally, emotionally, physically. Even as a community, we are taught that we are the protectors in a weird way. The only time that we celebrate is when we survive, and surviving is no longer the goal. It's a conversation I'm having with so many people. I do not want to survive. I want to thrive. I want to find moments that bring me joy, with the people that bring me joy. I'm not going to sit and wallow in any pain or any of what life keeps throwing. In order to thrive, sometimes you have to disappear for a minute. Sometimes you have to quiet the noise. Sometimes you have to pour back into you, or allow the people who love you to pour back into you. And I've been feeling that pull and push for a while now, just like completely unplugging. And old me would have associated it with me being lazy or not wanting to be productive or my depression. And because I've spent the last 4 weeks working on what rest truly looks like for Black women, or what rest truly looks like for me, I was able to catch the thought of, oh, you're just lazy, you just don't want to do your to-do list. To know your body is screaming for you to rest. Your body is screaming for you to take some much needed time. And yeah, I did it, and I did not feel guilt at all. I'm loving this like no guilt season. And to me, that's wisdom. High key. Like, it's big, big, big wisdom. But let's talk about something else. We'll talk about the vacation and why I took it next week. But I want to talk about something that people have been asking me about, especially as I see more and more Black women and Black people full stop being laid off in the workforce. What do you do when a layoff is coming? What do you do? And as someone who has lived and survived several layoffs in my career, I wanted to share my POV. This is my personal opinion as an executive, a marketer, a consultant, someone who has done the hiring, done the firing, done the layoffs. I want to talk about it. There's this thing that happens when a layoff is coming. You can feel the shift in the atmosphere. You can feel leadership scrambling. You can feel a level of unease. And as someone who has, again, been in multiple rooms where this has occurred, you're not crazy. If you feel it, it's already real. That's what I gotta say. So if you feel the shift is real. But my question to everyone is, are you prepared? Are you prepared for the shift that typically happens when a layoff is happening? So here's what I want you to do before it happens. Step 1, document all your wins and successes. I emphasize this to everyone I know. The reason you have to document all your wins and successes is when it does happen, you fall into this trap of forgetting who you are and forgetting how much you've accomplished and the amount of work you have done. So I always say, and this is something one of my mentors taught me years ago, is every month, take stock of what you've accomplished, what you didn't accomplish, what are the things you could have done better. And that's not just for you. It's also just as you build your resume and as you build your network, you want to be able to talk about the work that you've done, not from a place of surviving, but from a place of thriving. So that's the other thing. Document everything, every contribution, every project, every conversation. And I'm team, have it in writing. Have it in writing. Number 2, I would say quietly activate your network. You don't have to be loud if you are on a search, but it's important to start leveraging your network. Like, what do they have on offer? What are the things that could be done from a project standpoint? How do you ensure that they know that you are looking? And I think it's important to reconnect with people before you need them. I always say that. Reconnect with people before you need them. A lot of people only connect once they've been laid off or once something drastic has happened in their life. And this also goes to your personal life, but from a professional standpoint, reactivate your network months before you're willing to leave or months before the inevitable happens. Let your network know that, hey, well, I'm possibly looking to leave. I am possibly looking to leave, and here are some of my skill sets. Let me know if something comes up within your world. And I think that to me is part of the perfect preparation. Like, you have to plan ahead of time. You have to plan before the layoff happens. And a lot of people do not plan before the layoff happens. And I'm just like, if a layoff is happening and you feel really uneasy, activate your network. Activate it immediately. Get some consulting gigs, get some contracts in the works, start having some conversations, because that honestly will help with anxiety once you've been laid off. 3, know your value outside of that company. Know your value outside of that company. And I am an advocate of knowing your self-worth. I'm also a big advocate of understanding that your worth is not tied to a company. You are not great because you work for X. You are great because you possess these skills. Did the company help you with these skills? Yes, maybe. But knowing that you yourself are valuable is the first step in making sure that post-layoff anxiety or depression doesn't happen. Know your value, because your LinkedIn should never be outdated. Be strategic about who you're connecting with, and just make sure there's always something going on with your LinkedIn so that you stay relevant and you stay top of mind. But I can't stress enough how much you have to know your value outside of a job, and maybe get friends around you to hype you up or gas you up. But you are going to need to know that you are worthy in every season. And I know that's really hard, but as someone who never tied her value to work, okay, I did tie my value to work, but the best part of the year and a half, I disassociated with work. I very much was like, this is my 9 to 5 and I'm going to be good at it. But I'm also going to build something that lasts. I want to build impact. I want to do projects with other people that fulfill me and that fill me with a lot of joy. And I think that is something a lot of people don't do. They don't start building their external validation from friends and from networks. So I would say know your value outside of work as a must. You knowing your worth and your employer knowing your worth are two very different things. And only one of them truly matters in the long term. Go figure out which one that is. But if the layoff was unjust, and if you feel like you were blindsided, or if you were removed for reasons that had nothing to do with your performance, I think it's important to document it, talk to someone about it. And if you want, get some legal counsel. Most of my network is filled with lawyers. I'm very much a lawyer up. And you'll be surprised, there'll be a lot of people willing to take on your case as a retainer if you do have a case. If you feel unfairly dismissed, if you feel like your severance is too low. I also believe in negotiating severances. I say that to every single person I've encountered. Negotiate your severance if you can, especially at the C-suite level. Aim for 6 months to a year if possible. But if you're a regular employee, try and negotiate the things that matter to you. Do you want more healthcare? Do you want more money? Always make sure you're in good standing with people within the business if you care. If not, get a lawyer to argue for you, because 9 out of 10 times, if you tied your value to work, you're already defeated. And you don't want to be going back and forth with an organization that have big lawyers behind them. And that's the honest truth. But I believe in fighting back. I believe that businesses should pay you your worth, whether that's with you in the company or once you left the company. You should be paid your worth. That's kind of the layoff conversation that I wanted to have. It's just, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit more, about knowing your worth in a world where so many layoffs are happening. I want everyone to be really prepared. And in being prepared, I think that takes me to my next point, which is marketing yourself in an AI world. AI is here to stay. AI will probably take your job. On a serious note, I spent a lot of time this week with a lot of my friends out of state, in state. And the conversation kept on coming back to this one thing is like, Tope, what's going to happen in this AI world? And what does job security look like? And how do I compete with AI? And I said, compete with AI? You don't compete with AI. You learn how to direct it. There's a difference. The people who are going to win in this next era are the people who understand how to direct AI. And they're the people who know how to communicate with it, prompt it clearly, understand how to leverage it, understand the impact in your world. So whether that's in music, fashion, business, creative, you have to understand that AI is here to stay. And how you navigate it will determine whether you're replaced or not, because I don't believe AI is going to replace your expertise. Your expertise is still your expertise. All it does is it amplifies it. It helps amplify your knowledge on what you already know. The question is, am I willing? Keyword, am I willing to learn how to work with it? Am I willing to learn how to work with it? Are you willing to learn how to work with AI? And I would just say start now. You cannot wait to start leveraging AI, even small, once a week. Go on YouTube, join a course. There are so many free courses out there. I don't personally believe in paying for courses when there's so much knowledge out there. But if you feel like you need to pay for a course, there are courses out there that will help you understand the basics of AI. And as you get more comfortable, you get a little bit more secure in knowing that your expertise will actually never be replaced, but just be amplified. While AI is good, AI is also bad. And a lot of what I'm noticing is there is so much misinformation out there when it comes to AI. So misinformation, and how do you navigate it? I have seen so much misinformation out there when it comes to AI tools. And it's only getting harder to discern, like, is that really AI? Did I just see WizKid with this person? Like, AI is getting good. It's advancing rapidly. It's advancing immediately. And I always say, if it makes you immediately question something, I always say, if it makes you immediately outraged, whether that's an image, whether that's a text, whether that's a video, if it makes you immediately outraged, pause. Because that's by design. As a marketer, that's by design. Some things are out there to enrage us. Some things are out there to manipulate us. Some things are out there for the sole purpose of dividing us as a country and as a nation. So I think it's really important, especially in this misinformation era, if something stirs an emotion in you, just pause and be like, why is this stirring so much emotion in me? So how do you combat that? I think it's really important to understand, how do you combat the misinformation? The first thing I always say is verify the information. Go to a reliable source. And not just commentary. There is so much commentary out there. So much. Everyone has something to say. But find you reliable sources. I'm also very intentional about the AI tools that I'm using and the AI tools I'm trusting to have my knowledge and to learn my thinking. Because I think we'll forget that these tools are learning how we think, which brings me to something I'm going to be really transparent about. Okay. So over a year ago, I moved from ChatGPT to Claude, and I'm seeing everyone finally moving to Claude. Well done. But I want to encourage people to move over to Claude. Okay. Let me be clear. This is not sponsored. This is just how I see the world. And right now, it's a values conversation. When you choose your tools, you are choosing who you are funding. And that matters. That matters a lot if we see what's happening in the world. And for me, Anthropic is the only company that has been exceptionally transparent about its AI uses, building AI safety, the risk in trying to mitigate the risk. AI is shaping how we think, it's shaping our world. And in a world where we are consuming a lot of different information, I want to be very intentional. I want to be very intentional about whose version of AI I'm letting into my life. Yeah, do your research, and I'll encourage you to look into Claude, not just for its features, but also what it represents, the company values, what the company stands for, who the company is willing to fight against, how the company looks at AI safety. For me, is 10 out of 10. And if you care, especially if you care about responsible AI and building a safer world, then let's look at the AI tools out there and what they stand for. And if it's here to stay, who am I putting my money behind? So I would say it's a value-driven conversation. And for me, this is one of those times when we all need to figure out the value and our values, like where are we aligning our values and where are we aligning our dollars? Yeah, so week 4 was about reconnecting with friends, with myself, with a version of the world I want to see. A lot of my choices, I was like reconnecting with some choices, some hard choices. The thing I kept on landing on in week 4 is rest for me isn't a reward after work. It's not. The rest for me is part of the work that I have to do, is part of my world. And I hope it's part of your world too. You deserve to have micro moments of joy and restful moments despite the chaos that is going on in the world. So as we think about how we navigate AI, how we look at the safety of the world, I think exercise your free will now. If anything, this is the best time to exercise it. So that was week 4. And week 5, we were on vacation. So I will share a ton of BTS videos with you about my vacation, about my rest, what this vacation taught me about free will and friendships and relationships. But until then, see you in week 5, where we get to talk about what a spontaneous free will vacation looks like. But seriously, if you do have any questions, especially around layoffs and how to navigate layoffs, send me a message. My email's in my bio and someone from my team will reach out. But this season's hard. So hold your loved ones close because we all need each other in this season. See you next week.